Always a pleasure to welcome Matt Larkin to the show, our managing editor here at Daily Faceoff. And Larkin, we're going to dig into this Panthers-Leafs series and the Leafs exit from the playoffs. Can I start, though, with some of the quotes that have been going around, whether it's Brad Marchand or Matt Tkachuk, the weird, pity quotes coming from the Panthers towards the Maple Leafs? What do you make of this whole notion that seems to be getting sent out of oh, man, it's tough to play in that market?
It's funny, as I watch guys like Brad Marchand in particular talking, I'm looking to see if there's a little smirk forming at the corner of his mouth. It almost feels like gamesmanship because Brad Marchand, the Leaf killer in Game 7s, you got the Leafs right where you want them. You don't want them to change if you can get past these guys every year. And I think you want to continue the culture of coddling these players, which is sort of what's gotten them into this position in the first place. Is there a little bit of sympathy for the pressure in the market? Maybe, but I don't really buy it. It's not like Toronto is the only pressure cooker market in the NHL. Edmonton, they don't have as many major sports out there for you guys. There's plenty of pressure, I would argue, on the Oilers. It's not like you have the Raptors and Blue Jays to take the heat off, and they can still get to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. So I don't really know what the sentiment is supposed to be. I'm done believing in it. I don't think it's correct. And I do wonder if there's a bit of gamesmanship going on there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't buy it for 1 second. I think it's complete nonsense. I mean, these are the most well taken care of, pampered athletes who are highly paid, who have all the support in the world from maybe the biggest fan base in volume, unquestionably the biggest fan base in volume across the league. Like, why would anyone think that this is such a difficult place to play? All the media. I mean, Matt, you're in there every day or a few times a week. Who's the hard edge media guy who's going in there and bruising these guys and bloodying them every time he enters the locker room? Like, I just don't see it.
Yeah, I think you're right. And to sort of go inside baseball for a second, I think the Leafs are one of the most protective teams in the NHL in terms of controlling what is said, how many players are available after games. They do a really good job keeping those players safe. So I agree. It's not like they're subjected to this endless rush of reporters every single day. And the thing is, we're talking about pressure. We're in round 2. The Leafs won 7 playoff games. That's the first time they've done that in 23 years. That's not even halfway to the Stanley Cup. It's not like you're in Game 7 and you're gripping the Stanley Cup final. You're gripping the stick so tightly the pressure is too much. It's round 2. How bad can the pressure be this early in the postseason relative to what other players are going through league-wide?
It's crazy. You're right. So priority number 1 for the Toronto Maple Leafs for you this offseason?
I think it's actually to find a puck-moving defenseman. It is not Morgan Rielly anymore. And if you look at the repeated problems of the Leafs being hemmed into their own zone against Ottawa too, not just Florida, they could not clear the zone. Yes, they were blocking a lot of shots because they didn't have the puck. They had so much trouble clearing the zone. They have great shot blockers. They have great physicality on the blue line, but they no longer have that number 1 horse who's a great skater and can take the puck out of trouble with the puck on his stick, or take it out, exit the zone with the puck on his stick. It used to be Morgan Rielly, but I think we saw in this series, he's really slowed down. Maybe we're going to find out he's been dealing with some kind of injury as well. There's always that, but he's not the same player he was even a couple of years ago. And it's difficult because if you look at the free agent market, it's guys like Ivan Provorov, Vladislav Gavrikov. There isn't really that true perfect puck mover available in free agency. If you're going to find one, it's got to be the trade market, whether it's going to be a Noah Dobson you try to kick the tires on, whether you try to seek something crazy like Erasmus Dahlin. The Leafs need their version of Miro Heiskanen or Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar. Those guys do not grow on trees, but I think it's the number 1 thing they were missing in these playoffs.
Okay, so it's interesting you said that because I agree definitely in nature of that is a need for sure, but is the need not to just you need dogs, like to quote Nazem Kadri, you need guys that are in the fight with you. You need guys that can help get you over the finish line when you get to tough situations like this. Don't you just need a Sam Bennett?
Maybe, but I mean, they have dogs. They have Matthew Nyes. They have Simon Benoit was really tough. Chris Tanev led the league in hits taken. I think they got tougher. Brandon Carlo, Scott Lawton, they dogified this
I don't mean
team.
clutch.
They were the biggest
I don't
team in
mean
the
I don't
NHL.
mean tough. I mean clutch.
Yeah. And I do think that is the crux of the question for the offseason to me. So you could consider bringing back Mitch Marner just on the grounds that there's no player of his talent level available now that Mikko Rantanen's gone, right, off the market. And you could say, okay, maybe it's more important to be consistently competitive. If you're willing to think short term, you could take that money, that $14 million, you throw it at Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand. Then you get your 2 dogs, your guys who can play a heavy game with skill, have clutch experience. And you have to understand, if you're the Leafs in that scenario, you're definitely sacrificing sustained success in that case, but maybe it's worth it. I mean, you've done your sustained success. You've had 9 years of being competitive, 100-point seasons, and you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over.
Frank said Brendan Shanahan heading into a year where he doesn't have a contract. What do you think? Are there going to be changes way up at the top potentially?
Well, I suspect there will be. If you look at the way Keith Pelly, the CEO of MLSE, spoke when he made his big address last year, it seems like there's supposedly a zero tolerance for anything less than a deep playoff run. Shanahan, of course, the contract is over anyway. We don't even know if he wants to come back after being a decade in this pressure cooker. And, Shanahan did do a lot of good things for the franchise. I think he brought them back to relevance. He did a lot of small touches, even things like changing honored numbers to retired numbers. I think he made the Leafs less of a laughingstock as a franchise. But at the same time, he, I think, also was part of the brain trust that coddled these stars and gave them so many more chances than a lot of other franchises would. And I think you just eventually have to let him fall on the sword here, because you cannot do this over and over and not be able to break through even to the third round of the playoffs. I think it's embarrassing in a sense that this is considered such a mountain to climb when you have so many other franchises that seem to do it every year relatively easily. It's not that big a deal to make the conference final. We're not talking about Stanley Cup final. We're just talking about the third round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess last one for you. What do you think, John? What do you think happens with John Tavares this summer? I mean, he's coming off a great season. Like, the idea that he'd come back for a discount, not all that far-fetched, but how much of a discount would he be willing to take, I guess?
Yeah, it's really complicated because Tavares actually had a really good year, right? He had, I think, 38 goals. He was one of the best net front players in the league in the second half, especially after the Four Nations faceoff. So he kind of played his way past the true sweetheart team-friendly deal. If you want to keep him, even paying him $7 million, if you give him the Joe Pavelski contract, 3 times 7, that's still a discount relative to what he did production-wise this season. And to me, it's just the way that Toronto went out, I think, maybe has to change things. Because even if you asked me a week ago, I'd say, hey, Tavares has earned his right to come back. And if you're getting him on a discount, he's still a really good second line center. He has plenty left in the tank. But when this core group no-shows the way they did, outscored 12-2 in their own barn, game 5 and 7. I tweeted this last night, guys. If the San Jose Sharks, if you just said, hey, guys, we want you to play the Florida Panthers twice in a row in your home barn in these playoffs, would they have lost by a 12-2 score? I don't think they would have. And you have to pin a little bit of that on the Leafs core leadership group. And just because of the nature of this loss, maybe you have to just wipe the slate completely clean, and that could include Tavares.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting summer in Toronto. Matt Larkin, managing editor, senior writer with us at Daily Faceoff. Thanks for doing this on a holiday Monday, Matt.
Thanks, guys.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Seravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.